Okay, I think we are live now. Maybe my little computer is telling me that I'm live in one way and it's telling me to wait in another. So I'm going to keep smiling and waiting. And there we go. I see that we are now live, which is great. Feels a while since I've done one of these live webinars on Facebook. So I'm really excited too. And tonight, well, it's December, and December is the month of the heart. So I am excited to be working with simple ways that you can really help your heart. Hi Claire, I see you there. I'm glad. I seem to not be able to see my own video at all, but I'm sure it will come back in a minute. Thank goodness I've got a good cup of tea with me tonight. All right. Hi, Bev. I see several of you coming up. Jason, great emojis there. All right. So, as ever, you know that I am going to love getting your questions, anything you want to ask about the heart, about December, about how to keep yourself really nourished as we move into this midwinter time. You know, it's such an amazing festival. All of these midwinter festivals that we have, they encourage us to move into a little bit of expansion after the real deep calling of autumn and now into winter, to kind of move inside your energy instead. Your energy goes through beautiful patterns of cycles in the year. So right now it's moving towards its most yin point, its stillest point, the time where actually the depths of your energy fields are really putting their nourishment, their focus, their attention into your core and all of the energy systems that are close to the core. So it's not the time for big bursts of social activity. And of course, with the midwinter festivals, that's what we have. And so many cultures all over the world have the midwinter time. It's the time where we honour the deep yin and nurture the calling back of the yang, the calling back of the light. The midwinter festivals are always about calling the light back into being. So tonight I wanted to look at a way that you can support your heart system. And the reason the heart system is so vital at this time of year is twofold. One, because your heart system comes into its fullest power in December. Big cup of tea tonight. Comes into its fullest power, and by that I mean that in traditional Chinese understandings, the cycle of the year, the 12 months of the year, and the 12 meridians, your main big channel systems, they interrelate in so many ways, especially in how they manage your protective energy. Now it's really interesting. I'm writing a lot about protection and connection at the moment. I'm teaching a class next week, my monthly class, in which we're really looking at how to feel safe, resilient, and protected. And one of the big fallacies is that protection means separation. Protection means lack of connection with other people, but it doesn't. When your energy systems are moving in their beautiful forms of coherence, coalescing exactly where they need to, then it means that there is a natural buffer, a natural protection that actually enhances your connection into yourself, your connection to other people, your awareness of your connection with the world all around you. Because each of your meridian systems, each of these energy channels, takes its role in kind of running this protective system. So it's very, very linked into the energy that comes deep from within you and just emanates out and holds your energy fields really strong, activates that buffer, which means your energy brings in everything that's good for it, everything that you need for your development, your growth, your evolution. And of course, that doesn't always just mean everything that's easy. If life is easy, we often don't grow within those periods, do we? It's when we get our challenges, when we get our edge places, that actually we're then really able to work with much more of the growth in ourselves. So we have, in December, the heart system comes into its flow. It comes into its governance of this Wei Qi, protective energy system that we have, which means that the heart is working from deep within the body and it's emanating its particular vibration, its particular hue through every layer of your energy field, which is beautiful. It enables you to connect into others. When it's in balance, it reminds you to nourish yourself, to bring in that beauty, that depth, that compassion for yourself. And I know it's a theme so often in when I'm teaching or talking, to remember that kindness, compassion, gentleness has to start with yourself. Every single time it has to start with yourself. No point in you giving it all to everybody else and actually then finding that you're depleted. Bringing that gentleness to yourself, especially when your heart is doing this big work of all the time through December. It holds your energy field. It always sets the rhythm of your energy. Your heart is the big rhythm keeper of the entire body. But also just physiologically, it's really important that the heart sets the rhythm that's appropriate at this time of year. Because remember I talked about the protective system, the Wei Qi. Well, that also has a direct connection to your immunity. So to be healthy during December, then it's important that your heart field stays strong. So I'm going to show you an exercise. It's one of my favourites for the heart field, but especially when I'm calling it into its kind of role of governance. So it's not one that I show a lot because this is the one I tend to do a lot during the winter months, especially this month of December, where we want to be held strong and safe and grounded, and at the same time, within that beautiful depth of winter, we want to expand. We want to expand in a yin way, in a gentle way, to really get a deep connection with everything, with people, with animals, with maybe people that we haven't been in contact for a while. That's one of the big calls of midwinter, is to extend your generosity, extend your compassion. So let's have a little look at this exercise, and then I'm going to be looking at wonderful questions coming in, and make sure you ask them. Sometimes I talk so much that I realise that I haven't got to questions, but please coming in. I see so many wonderful faces. It's so great to see you all. I feel so delighted and honoured to be part of the amazing community that we're all together within. Okay, let me check. And Jen, you're letting me know that a few people are saying I'm very quiet. I shouldn't be, but look, let me pick this up. Let me put it on. Let me see if that makes it any louder. Is that better? Somebody let me know. The sound is a bit muffled, you're telling me. I don't think there's anything else here. My mic is up full, but just let me know. Is that any better? Jen, come on in and give me a message. Okay, not sure. I'm going to keep, much better. Chris, thank you for letting me know. That is great. I'll also make sure I speak up well. All right, the exercise that I most do, there's a few ones. I know many of you who've been working with my content for a while will know my absolute favourite is the heart loop. And that's one. Let's do that one together just to set the field of enjoying this time. So very simple. You're going to come and you're going to put your full palm in your armpit. From there, we're going to come all the way down the edge of the arm towards the little finger, squeezing that little finger just gently, just giving it. When you squeeze the end of this little finger, you're working with two powerful pulse points that actually send a little electrical charge between them. They're on either side of the nail. So this little electrical charge jumps between the heart meridian and its partner, the small intestine meridian. So this little squeezing at the end of the finger is great to kind of boost that heart energy. Now we're going to come to the middle finger, all the way through the middle section of the arm to the chest, back under the armpit, off the little finger, squeezing as we go, middle finger all the way back. We're just going to keep doing that circle. Let's do it 2 more times on this side. Now let's go to the other side. So armpit, little finger, middle finger, and all the way up the middle of the arm to the armpit. So we're just going to get that lovely flowing loop again. This is always beautiful. There is never a time when this exercise can't stabilize your system. There are some days that go by when I don't do that, but very, very few. All right, so having that as a warm-up and having that as an excellent, excellent way to drop your energy system down while your heart field comes into its strength. That's what that exercise does. It stabilizes, it grounds, and it extends the heart field so it's a much more resilient, cohesive energy. It begins to take over the rhythms of the body just as it should. All right, so then the other exercise, we're going to look at this wrist crease. Okay, so if you kind of flop your wrist over, you've got a natural bend there. You'll see in my hand there's a wonderful set of lines or wrinkles where that wrist crease is. Now, I want you to position your fingers, one finger underneath the thumb, right in that wrist crease, in the groove there, not on the bony bit, but just in the groove. And you're going to put your first finger on there, and the positioning of the fingers is important, and I'll explain more in a minute. Then with your middle finger, you're going to pop that right in the middle. So I'm on top of tendons right here. And there's a little place in between those two tendons. Then you're going to place your little finger underneath the little finger of your hand. Okay? So we've got all 4 fingers, the pads of all 4 fingers resting in that part of your wrist. It doesn't have to be exact, but just below the hand, so just into the wrist there. Now what we're working with here, and that's all you're going to do, you can rest your elbows, or you can put your hand on your lap, whatever's comfortable. We're working here with 3 very, very deep acupoints. 3 places where energy pools, where it actually gets stored in the place underneath the thumb, in the middle of the wrist, and underneath the little finger side of that wrist crease. You're connecting into those deep pools of energy with the fingers that relate to those pools of energy. So your first finger is picking up a metal point, a point that holds your lung and large intestine energy, a place that really draws inspiration and solidity into your energy field. With your middle finger, you're holding a point that protects the heart, that ensures that the heart is always in its greatest flow. And with the little finger, which is a heart finger, you're holding the heart point itself. Now, for some of you, this, And I feel it in my own system, that my nervous system is just rewiring a little bit right now. Some of you will feel it around the chest, that there's a kind of, it's almost an effort for you to keep your arm up in any way, that you just feel that relaxing through the front of the chest. Some of you will feel it down your spine or either side of your spine. So what's happening to me is the nervous system just relaxes, just drops down any of the tension of the day. Some of you will feel it elsewhere. It depends where you hold your tension. It depends what in your energy field was slightly out of balance. Now, let's go to the other side, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. So the first finger is going to go underneath the thumb in the wrist crease. The middle finger is going to go underneath the middle finger, and the little finger is going to go underneath the little finger. And same thing, once you're there, the ring finger just rests wherever it rests, doesn't matter at all. We're not using it as an active part of this hold. And again, rest your arm. I'm dropping my elbow down onto the desk. You could put yours on your lap, on the arm of your chair, wherever is comfortable. While you're doing this, maybe close your eyes and just take your awareness into the falling and rising of your chest as you're breathing. Recognizing that that chest is moving out and in. The heart is pumping, giving it an expanding and contracting movement. Your energy field off your body is expanding and contracting. So these amazing concentric circles of expansion and then rest as the contraction comes in. When you take your awareness to those patterns that are always in place in your body, then it spins a greater awareness through your energy fields of all of the rhythms of your body, all of the valves that are opening and closing, all of the capillaries, the arteries, the veins. 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body, all of them moving with the rhythm of your heart. Lovely. It feels beautiful. And you can hold this for as short as maybe 2 or 3 breaths, or as long as 20, 30 minutes. There's no, you can't overdo it in any way. I want to show you one little variation before we go on to questions, because sometimes this working, it pulls your energy field in a little bit tighter. It's quite a different feel than what we just did, although it's very, very similar. And all you're going to do is hold the exact same points. How do I show you this? You just hold the exact same points, but with your palms together instead. Does that make sense? It's very difficult with a camera that's back to back to show you what I mean. So all we're doing, we've still got a slight reverse going on. So this time we've got the first finger in the thumb, in the wrist crease underneath the little finger. Middle finger is still in the middle, and then the little finger is now under the thumb. So we've reversed the positioning of the fingers, but we've kept them in exactly the same place, yeah? Now, I use this one instead of the single-sided when I want to kind of pull the energy field in tighter, when I want to weave it together a little bit more. And I'm sure you have an idea of when you might want to do that. Let's say you've been out for a while, maybe you're visiting friend, you're sitting with a friend and you're beginning to feel a little bit tired, or maybe the friend is really going through some emotional stuff and you feel like, oh, I'm beginning to be impacted by this. I'm not feeling quite as robust as I was. That's when this exercise just kind of brings in a stronger fabric of weave around the heart. And a lot of that is to do with the fact that your palms are now together. You've kind of invited your energy system to contain itself a bit more strongly. All right. I'm sure there are some questions, and I want to see. Lovely, lots of yawning. Some of you saying how relaxing it is. Great. Jen, thanks for little clarifications in there. All right, so let's see. Is there any questions? Let's have a look. All right, so Teddy, you're asking, what is the connection between the monthly organ, in this case the heart, and the 5 elements, kidney and bladder? All right, that's a great question. For those of you who have some understandings about Chinese health philosophy, Chinese 5 rhythms philosophy, understanding about the movement of the 5 rhythms or the 5 elements and the meridians in your body, then this is talking to you. So we have several systems moving in resonance within your body. And there are different models of operating within the system. So when we think of the meridian flow wheel, it moves through a 12-hour clock. Yeah. So the time of the heart is between 11 o'clock in the daytime and 1 o'clock in the daytime. That's when every 24 hours the heart kind of comes up and runs the system. Simultaneously, we have the system I've been talking about, the model of the year. So right now, heart is running that month. Simultaneously, and this is where energy can get really paradoxical, but actually, in a way, it's just about understanding the complexity of relationships within different parts of the models. So we've got heart coming up between 11 and 1. We've got heart coming up in December. We've got heart coming up within its relationship of fire during the summer months. That's when the amazing fire element really comes into its fore in its body. So all of those, much as I was just talking about the concentric layers of energy that's in this heart field, they're very similar. It's just about how they relate in the body and where they relate. All right, I hope that answers your question, Teddy. All right. Okay, so Jen, you're asking how to stay intact and connected with those that you're not able to see during the holidays. Yeah, there's a lot of us are in that situation this year, aren't we? Exceptionally so. So, several ways. One, obviously, is to reach out via your phone or the crazy old-fashioned way of writing letters. What an amazing gift to receive a handwritten letter at this time. Through communication like this, obviously. But there's also the more energetic communication. It may be that you give a certain portion of each day, or maybe just on your sacred days. If you celebrate Christmas, then maybe on Christmas Day, or if you celebrate the solstice, then maybe on that day. So maybe on a sacred day, you take 20 minutes, half an hour, and you really hold in your energy field your love for those people that you're not able to be with. It's an amazing way of connecting across time, space, into other people's energy fields. It lights up the energy field of the person for whom you're experiencing gratitude or love. It's not a case so much, we get into really interesting ethical questions about your individual right to send love or healing or prayers or anything like that to another person without their permission. For me, there's lots of ethical questions around there. But for you to experience the love that you feel for them is a very different thing. If their system is receptive to that, it will light them up. And it means that there's no ethical blurriness in that respect. So if you're unable to be with someone during this December month, and you really feel that in your heart, then that's a beautiful practice that you can do. Just sitting with maybe a photo of them or something that reminds you of them, or bringing a really close memory into your mind, which of course is then into your energy fields. And then for me, I would always be having my hands crossed over my heart, because it's kind of the energy from your hand stokes up that heart field, as well as it also being really nurturing for you. So from that point, just really experiencing to the fullness that you can at that point your love or your gratitude for that person. Really beautiful and powerful connection, and you'll feel good afterwards. Even if, you know, when I've worked with ways like that, then sometimes I shed tears because I would like to be with them, but it's still tears out of love, out of joy, out of blessing, and knowing that at some point we will be together. All right, let's see if there's any more questions. Bridget, you're asking any exercises, especially for regulating the rhythm of the heart. The rhythm of the heart, I would really be working with that great exercise that just, let me see what you can see. So you place one hand over the chest, and then you're going to work to tap on the back of your hand. So I'm just taking a moment to be quiet, to feel into the rhythm of my body. And this isn't necessarily the rhythm of your heart. So mine has settled into a sort of waltzing rhythm, which is very often when I'm in a settled, happy, joyful place. That will be the beat that comes into my body system. But for you, it can be anything. Anything. And if you're feeling really tense and you want to find your rhythm back, then placing your hand over your heart and tapping, you'll probably find that it kind of is quite staccato at first, and that's totally fine. Don't try and manage that. As you breathe, as you bring more attention to your heart, to your rhythm, to your breathing, as you bring more consciousness to your desire to really regulate and help your body system, then you'll find that your tapping just instinctively, intuitively begins to calm. Then from that point on, you can get curious about the rhythm that your body is moving with then. Really beautiful. It can bring you down from the edge of stress, from the edge of panic. Really works to kind of, anytime we're moving into a sort of erratic rhythm, then this cohesion around the heart field is lost. When that happens, it's likely that your ability to ground electromagnetically, to really be held strong by the earth, also becomes less stable. So when you work with the tapping on the back of the hand, waltzing the heart or finding the rhythm of the heart, then actually the first thing you'll notice is that you begin to feel more stable and solid again. And from there, you can usually find that rhythm. All right. Eliza, I often want to cross my feet or ankles when I do energy exercises, particularly the ones you just did it now. Is it good to go with this? You know what? Generally, I'd say anything that your body calls to do, when it's something kind of you're working consciously with energy, then follow it. Follow it and track it. So do it. Cross your ankles over. Do the exercise. Experience it. Uncross your ankles. Do the same exercise, experiencing it. And get curious. What was the difference? What was the difference? And maybe do that for the next 6 months. And then you won't be asking me that question because you'll know it yourself. You'll be able to say, you know what? When I cross my ankles, I just feel that generally I come more into my central place. Beautiful. That means that crossover in your legs is bringing in a balance point that otherwise isn't there in your system. You might find, you know what, when I cross over my legs, I always feel a little panicked, or I don't feel that great, in which case, no, it's not beneficial for you. But that's one for you to really explore yourself. All right, Sophie, great question here. Can we work with the heart to clear tension in the spine at the back of the heart. Absolutely. And you know what? I was just working on an email today, Sophie, and it's coming out next week, and it's going to be looking at exactly that. It's going to be looking at the back heart, the back cave of the heart, where we store so much stuff, anything that can't be processed, we kind of pop into that back cave to deal with another time. And you all know exactly what I mean, that place where really deep between your shoulder blades, the place that sometimes you really will feel that, oh, there's a weight, there's a heaviness, there's a pain, there's an iciness. And some days it won't be there because your system is kind of resilient enough and radiant enough to have buffered beyond that cave of the heart. And some days you'll really feel it. So absolutely anything to do with the heart. What it will do, it's not going to directly impact that back cave, but what it will begin to do is bring enough movement into all of the heart field that the heart can process what was stored in the back there. So it will be clearing and emptying it by bringing balance to the whole, rather than kind of tracking or chasing a specific problem. All right. Lyrica, you're also expressing the ethical concerns between sending love to someone who might not want it, who might be working very hard for whatever reasons in their life to actually hold their own energy field without being impacted by other people. Something that really needs permission, any sending. I always feel that any time we are working actively with the energy field of another person, then we are in some ways influencing it and therefore in some ways manipulating it. So that's never to be done without another person's express permission. You wouldn't want somebody manipulating your energy fields, even if it was with the best of their intention. Their intention may be well out of line with what your needs and your intention are. It's a really tricky one, but I think it's something that the more we bring our consciousness to, the more we're guided to work at a way that is beyond the negative. All right, okay, I'm being told that we are out of time. Let me see if there's one last question. All right, Shirley, you're asking a pretty big question here for a 2-minute answer. How can I get rid of resistance to what is really good for me? All right. It's a really important question, really valid one, and I'm sure one that every single one of us can identify with. And there's lots of answers to it. I think the place I would always recommend you start with is compassion, self-compassion. Always start there. From that place of self-compassion, integration happens. Resistances, blockages, they begin to melt in your system. They begin to be integrated into a whole. I guess we have to really remember the premise that when you have a resistance to evolving back into balance, let's put it that way, yeah? It means that there is part of your energy system that in some way has become blocked or congested or absent and depleted, yeah? So instead of your beautiful energy field being in its full balance, its full health, you being able to fully express yourself, instead of that, your energy flow gets to that place and then kind of has to move around or bridge over it or whatever it needs to do in that place of imbalance. So even beginning to really think about and hold that as a concept, beginning to get curious about where it is that these resistances are. I did a couple of classes recently that you may be interested in. One is activating the light from the depth of your core. That's amazing for clearing those blockages. Jen, maybe you can put the correct name down because that's not quite the same. But it's really about light bathing. It's about bathing in the light photons that your body continually emits. That's an amazing way to move those resistances. And the other class was a way of working directly with the chakras, which again can help just connect and move those resistances through. But compassion, the heart is an amazing place. The more you can generate strength in the heart field, the more compassion comes in and those resistances simply dissolve. You'll go 6 months down the line and you'll think, well, that's funny. I haven't even thought about that old pattern of resistance I had. That's when we know that your energy systems have moved back seamlessly into their balance and into their health. All right, fabulous. I'm so grateful and glad that we got to share this time together. And I really, really hope that this December month brings you that compassion, that gentleness. Use those exercises to really hold your heart in its full strength, because you will feel much more joyful, peaceful and connected. Thanks, Naomi, for being on to help with directing me to the questions, and also Jen. All right, much love, everybody. Bye-bye.